What's going on, YouTube? Debonair D coming back at you with another video. And I actually had a few videos I wanted to knock out. This is the first of many. And man, the past like day and a half, maybe 2 days, apparently I've been seeing different articles. Apparently the DA's office, the district attorney's office in New York, wants to they want Tekashi 6ix9ine, they want him to go to prison for 3 years and to be registered as a sex offender because apparently he violated his probation in some way, that he violated the guidelines of his probation in some way, probably that incident with the 16-year-old in Texas. I'm sure that didn't look too good to them. And a few other things that, they really just don't like his antics, and they want him to go to jail, go to prison for 3 years. And when he comes out, they want him to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life, most likely. Sometimes there's certain stipulations where you only have to register for 10 years or 20 years, but we could pretty much just assume that they want him to register as a sex offender for the remainder of his life. Now, I've been seeing a lot of people in the comments, especially recently with this new, I guess you could call it beef. It really ain't a beef because nothing's going to happen. They're never going to bump into each other. But, this so-called beef with YG, a lot of YG fans are hopping in the comments. A lot of just LA folks are hopping in the comments, and people that didn't like him because of previous engagements are hopping in the comments. And they're kind of like agreeing with the DA's office. They're supporting the idea of him going to prison for 3 years. And let me tell you guys something. Any of y'all who wish prison on any man, not just 6ix9ine, but a white man, a black man, a Mexican, it doesn't matter what kind of man you're talking about. If you wish jail on anybody, man or woman of any age, you are a weird ass nigga. Point blank period. You are a weird ass motherfucker. And if you hang around people who even support that kind of shit, you are a weird ass motherfucker. To actually want somebody to go to prison for 3 years people like me, I'd rather go to jail for X amount of years and have to register as a sex offender. I mean, that's damn near fate worse than death for a lot of people. Your life you might as well just be in prison, because the lifestyle you're going to live after having to register as a sex offender is going to be in some cases damn near unbearable. So you want somebody to go to prison away from his daughter and his other loved ones, friends and family, for 3 years and register as a sex offender just because you don't like some of the shit he says on the internet. And see, me, I'm not even a 6ix9ine fan. I'm not even a 6ix9ine fan. I think a lot of his antics are weird and goofy and lame, you know what I'm saying, and corny. I'm not a 6ix9ine fan. I don't got dozens and dozens of his songs on my playlists. I don't be going watching his videos. I didn't even hear what's that song? Fifi till yesterday. That real big song with him and Nicki Minaj. I didn't even hear that till yesterday. I was in a Lyft and the motherfucker was playing it in the Lyft. So I'm not a 6ix9ine fan by any means. I'm not, by any definition of the word, I am not a fan. But I'm also not a fan of sending people away to prison. And I see a lot of people saying, well, yeah, he's a pedophile. He deserves to go to prison. One thing that I really don't like about people in general, but especially black people, is we never take the time to actually investigate and do our due diligence to find out whether or not these accusations are true or not. The homie Sinful, he always says this one little line: the people are going to make an allegation, they're going to treat an allegation as if it's a conviction every single time. As soon as you get accused of something, you get charged with any sort of crime, whether it be a sexual crime, a violent crime, whatever, a misdemeanor or a felony, a lot of people are already having in their minds that you're either guilty or innocent. And it really doesn't matter what goes on in that courtroom. A lot of people are going to hold that same verdict no matter what happens. And, that's what's going on with Tekashi 6ix9ine. You got people like Trippie Redd and YG coming out calling him a child molester, like he's just Chester the child molester. But when you actually go and do your due diligence and you do research on the case, you find out that he's not really a child molester. First and foremost, he was 17 at the time of the incident. You can't be a pedophile if you're still a minor yourself, idiots. Now, of course, if he was like 17 and like 5 years old, okay, you know what I'm saying? Of course, we can reach. But when you're talking about two teenagers there's different rules that apply. Context is everything. And when I looked at the court documents, I actually took the time to look at the court documents. And what did I find? It pretty much, it was pretty much in direct correlation, or not correlation, but it pretty much matched his story that he gave academics. I actually took the time to watch that interview speaking on that case with academics. I think the whole thing was like 45 minutes. I watched the whole thing. And the court documents actually were congruent with what he was saying in the academics interview. It sounded like he was 17. He went to a party one night. He was with some guys. I'm sure some were his age, maybe a few a little younger, some older. And they invited a girl over, at least one girl, you know, because there's only one girl that he was charged with. So I don't know if there was many girls. It was just her. But they invited a girl over, and he was under the impression that she was of age. She was an adult. I don't know if he actually explicitly asked, or he did ask and she lied, or, you know, he just didn't ask at all. He just assumed. I don't know those details. But the fact of the matter is, there was a 13-year-old girl there at the house, in the apartment. I believe it was in an apartment, if my memory serves correctly. And at one point in time, they actually got this girl into her lingerie, her bra and panties, and there were some pictures taken and everything. And these pictures have actually leaked. And when the pictures leaked around, he uploaded it to all his social media and everything because he thought everything was cool. Mom saw some of these pictures, and that's where everything started going downhill. She went to the police department, wanted to press charges, and that's how he got wrapped up. But according to his story, and also according to the court, he didn't have sex with her, or at least they couldn't prove that he had sex with her. She didn't say that. He didn't say he did it, and they couldn't prove it at all. So what he was charged with, I can't remember the exact name of the charge because, you know, different states have different ways they word it. But basically, he was charged with basically endangerment of a minor, pretty much. You know, because like I said, they had this 13-year-old girl around drinking. They had her exposed to a certain extent. You were posting pictures with her. You were smoking weed. You know, and that's what he was charged with. And it only became and anytime there's a child involved, it's almost automatically a sex crime. That's where the sex offender comes in. And like I said, you had her exposed. But just because they're talking about having you register as a sex offender doesn't automatically mean you had sex with the child. And it doesn't also automatically mean you were cognizant of the fact that she was a child. Like I said, by no means, by no stretch of the imagination am I condoning pedophilia. Because if you go back just a few videos, I was sitting there baffled that people were defending James Gunn. But when you look at a situation where somebody is 17 years old and they were around a 13-year-old who, I actually saw that picture that leaked. That girl did not look no 13 years old. You know what I'm saying? She didn't. She looked about his age, 17, 18 years old. And then he didn't even have sex with her. And y'all want him to go to prison for 3 years and be registered as a sex offender for those, with those details in mind. Y'all are some weird ass niggas, man, for real. Y'all are some weird ass niggas. And I actually made a video, not about this incident, but just in general. I don't know what it is about y'all that y'all act like there aren't an innumerable amount of girls out here who not only look, but talk and act like grown ass women nowadays. I remember at my graduation, my high school graduation, you know, what are the people on the stage? 17, 18, maybe a couple of 19-year-olds, mostly 18 at your graduation, right? I remember my family, my folks, my uncles and my mom, and I think even my dad commented on it, how old some of those girls looked, but not like in a good way, like they look haggard because of just, you know, the hormones nowadays and the drugs and, you know, just the lifestyle these girls are living. A lot of girls look a lot older than they really are nowadays. And this has always been going on, but especially in today's times, both young men and women look a lot older than they really should. It's very rare that you find a baby-faced girl or a baby-faced boy when they're 17 or 18 years old now. So I don't even know why y'all are acting like this is something that doesn't happen. And let me just also give you guys another example. This isn't what happened with him, but let's go back to my high school days because I'm 20 right now. The age of consent here in Georgia is 16. So, you know, according to Georgia law, you could be 16 years old and have sex with a 60-year-old and everything is legal, which, you know, you figure that out on your own. But anyway, let's say back in high school, I'm a sophomore, right? And there's a 15-year-old girl in my class. I'm 16, but we're classmates. It's a month before her birthday, but she decides to send me a naked picture. If I get caught with that naked picture, I'm going to jail for child pornography. Are y'all aware of that? Let's go back. Let's change up the details of that story one more time. We're both 15. We're classmates. We're in the same grade. We go to the same school. We're both classmates. Let's say we got the exact same birthday. We're 15 years old. We send each other naked pictures. Both of us can go to jail for child pornography. So, and by us being, and we're probably going to get convicted, we're probably going to be found guilty of those charges, we will probably have to register as a sex offender for the rest of our lives. So we have to, all of these different things, you know, you have to look at the context before you start calling somebody a pedophile. And unless somebody, I've said this many and many times on this channel, but unless somebody was aware, they were cognizant of the fact that this girl was a minor, unless they were cognizant of that, you cannot call them a pedophile. Point blank, period. Pedophilia is knowingly having sex or other sexual interactions with somebody who you are aware, you knowingly know, you are cognizant of the fact that they are a minor. That's where pedophilia comes in. And truth be told, pedophilia is children that haven't hit puberty yet. There's actually another term called hebephilia, but we'll just keep the same term, pedophilia. You are not a pedophile unless you willingly have sex with somebody who is under the age of 18, a minor. So, you know, y'all are putting a pedophile jacket on him, man. I know y'all don't like him. You think he's a bitch, you think he's a pussy, but, you know, there's 3 things that no man wants to be called, and that's a homosexual, a snitch, and a pedophile. Those are like the 3 worst things you could ever be called. So when somebody's being accused of being a pedophile, man, it's very important that you go and you do your due diligence, man. It doesn't take but 5 or 10 minutes to go and research the court documents. It doesn't take 5 or 10 minutes, but to fast forward through that academics interview and find out what really happened. And the only reason they're charging him, and the only reason why he was even eligible to be on the sex offender list, is because there was a child involved and, you know, she got slightly exposed. But there's many different ways that you can become a sex offender. That doesn't automatically mean that you're a pedophile and you're seeking out children to have sex with, man. And like I said, it's really disappointing that a lot of people think that, but, you know, it is what it is. And like I said, one last time, I'm not a supporter of pedophiles. You can go back on my channel and there's plenty of proof of that. But anyway, man, I appreciate you guys watching. Peace.